Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all my beloved students. All right, so as I'm promised that today we'll continue on our chapter 8, data collection methods. All right, so what is a data collection methods? What do you know? What is the data collection? What is data? Data can be secondary, data can be primary. Okay, now maybe some of you have experience to collect the data in the other subjects, right? Numerical data, textual data, or you just secondary data. Let's see the data from DOSM, okay, the statistics that you um, obtain from the DOSM database and so on. Okay, so that's a secondary data. However, today we will go to questionnaires and observation. Questionnaires is quite close with you that you will have it for your project soon. Okay, so before you want to distribute your questionnaire, of course you have to develop or design your instrument. Okay, questionnaire also can consider as an instrument, where it's a considered pre-formulated or written set of questions that we want to respond. Our respondent record their answers. Okay, so first of all, so for your group assignment one, you will have to develop this questionnaire. So that's why I um have to. Okay, or whatever it is, this week we have to discuss on the questionnaire design. Okay, I just say about discuss. Maybe I just open your minds that you have to explore your own what's a questionnaire all about. Okay, so when you develop your questionnaire, you should know how to determine the content, form of response, the wording, sequence, and as well as the cover letter. If you remember, I already touched on the cover letter in the article in chapter 1. You still remember, so that's you also indirectly you get the consent from your correspondent. All right, so what you should put in your questionnaire content. So of course, first of all, the framework. So all the information that construct your questionnaire. Okay, so it should we have the item for the question tu lah. The question itself, one element or one items. Okay, and this that's the objective that you want to must have it, and then the subjective can we have multiple or not. Okay, so maknanya from the one question to maybe you have some sub elements from that, or maybe you just need have only the main question only. Okay, depends on your research text. Okay, so it can have the format of the questionnaire can have closed or open-ended. Okay, so normally the tendency of researcher are doing closed question to help the respondent to make to nurture their answering the question, to make decision, and also as well as to help to researchers to code or to analysis after that, either statistical analysis or whatever lah, thematic and qualitative analysis and so on. Normally for closed question biasanya lies to the quantitative or statistical analysis. Okay, so that's why you have to determine your either you want to do nominal, the variable can be nominal, ordinal, okay, and so on. So you must clear with your statistical analysis that you want to choose, and then mana you have to plan well. Okay, if open-ended question, so maybe you have thematic analysis, you may have some qualitative analysis as well. So you must make sure that you are not unbiased point of view. Okay, maybe you put some maybe you biasa tengok kan, normally in the question dia ada command cadangkan, so additional insight. Okay, so normally kalau untuk for a survey purely this is more to strengthen your findings. Okay, so for interpretation purpose. Okay, another way to normally to complement to the closed question itself. Okay, so maybe you have a, let's say 10 to 15 closed question, then we have open-ended with 2 or 3 to complement, to strengthen what you will get from your closed question. Okay, so of course you need this some response skills. So I just talk about more general things on question. So in the when you do wording, when you do have items, you okay, these things that you have to be considered. So you should avoid double barrel, okay? Avoid, not avoid ambiguous question. Okay, make sure you use layman words, ordinary words, okay? Avoid leading or biased questions. Okay, social desirability, and as well as avoid recall dependence. You cannot burden your respondent to remember too much things. Okay, so that's what we say here about recall dependent questions. So you make it more, try to make it the respondent want to answering your questionnaire. So don't put too much things. Okay, sometimes psychologically when you put lots, you put so many questions, they have 5 6 pages of question to answer. Sometimes the respondent feel next time, then they forgot about that and they're not answering the question, so on. Unless you are approaching face to face, then you lead them, or you support them, or you facilitate them, is okay. Okay, but nowadays it's quite, I mean, there's some still new normally, maybe you also afraid for to do that yet. Okay, so this one another way. Okay, normally you ada apa panggil tu, positive negative statement. Okay, especially when you have research hypothesis. Okay, for example here, Dresner delivers high quality banking service, or Dresner has poor customer operational support. If you, sorry, yes, tapi don't make it too much lah, double negative and so on. So make sure dia macam ada comparison lah. Normally in like in AHB, right, dia punya question ni quite have some apa pairwise, right, analytical hierarchical process. If you will, for those ambil subject research apa teknik quantitative, right, 1 and 2 as have that some of AHB, they have they lead almost for that way. Okay, rule of thumb, let's say less than 30 words, less than 30 words. Ini kita nak make it simple question, and at least make sure 1 full line. Jangan sampai 2-3 line kan. We ask the person, the people to answer, so make it easy, and they feel okay, not so burn them. Kan bakar orang tu, menyusahkan orang. So kita nak ask the opinion of people, and then we make it easier. And so actually you can adopt, okay, you can adopt or you adapt from the existing one lah. Okay, so normally the sequence can be normally from easy to difficult. Okay, psychologically lah kan, kita don't start with the difficult things first, or general to be specific, right? So develop that question to become people friendly. Okay, then the cover letter. So as I said just now, that you already talking about this when we discuss on ethical. So actually it's about the researcher too, who are the researcher, the motivation for the respondent to fill out that form, the confidentiality. So that's about ethics as well, and as well as thanking of to say thank you to the respondent. Okay, for example, here I can read for you. Okay, dear participant, it's quite lengthy as well. This question is designed, okay, to study aspect, blah 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 blah. Your response will be kept strictly confidential. Okay, all the members of the research team will have access, blah blah blah. This number will be used for follow-up procedures. Okay, thank you very much for your time and cooperation. I greatly appreciate the help of your organization and yourself in furthering this research endeavors. We can maybe you can in Google, in Google Scholars, and then they have much example and so on. Or you when you are doing your assignment too, sometimes they have. I don't know if you're so lucky you have at the end as appendix. Sometimes the researcher put um their instrument at the behind as appendix and so on. Okay, so that's for questionnaire. If I'm go details from this textbook, this book is quite heavier, not heavier, quite tak cukup dalam masa sejam ni. Actually, you all please, no, don't be afraid. So actually, observation also sebenarnya observation dulu, okay. So when nanti when you go, kita as a human we always like to observe, okay. And naturally we like to observe without we aware on that. Okay, what is observation? Okay, so observation normally kita actually a part of no, we are looking. Okay, we are observe. We are looking the behavior of people. Okay, so can be in the context research can be in the factory side, the shopping complex, the waiting room, the office, the trading room. Okay, you macam let's say you want to do simulation, you observe first, right? Observing to tackle the problem to overcome the problem on any places, any space. Okay, before you decide what you want to do when you're observing on that scenario and so on. Okay, so observation is common that we are doing day by day. Sometimes we aware or we are not aware on that. Okay, especially when we are waiting for something, we observe people, and it's not only we observing the people. Sometimes we also can consider like in the science for who are doing research in science, like in science and technology, they are observing the animals or the things that they are doing experiment. Small as the lebih kepada experimental design and so on. However, observation is the thing, the cost things that the basic things that we are always do when you are doing research. Okay. Cuma sometimes kita tak declare on our research process. Okay. For example, here, okay, observing store shopping, sitting in the corner of office to observe, okay, how to merchant bank trader. In the bank, the boss is the behind of the front line is from the front officer in the counter, right? So they are observing. Sometimes the authorization is need from the boss. So working a plan to study factory life. Okay, so observations is very in nature. Okay. So nowadays when the online is quite limited lah for observation things and so on. Okay, so they have 4 key dimensions characterizing types of observation. Okay, jadi it can be have when we setting the observation, it can have either there can 4 consequences, control versus uncontrolled, participant versus non-participant, structured versus unstructured, and concealed versus unconcealed. So they have 4 dimensions, right? In this one, I still keep thinking either I want to go further or you want to just say out and then you can go, you can have it by your own. By your own, I mean I just park like that and then you can have it your own and then you can explore your own and so on. Okay, tak apa. I just explain the things that get you. Alright. Okay. So if you see control and uncontrolled, a little bit more on experimental design lah. So you have control and then uncontrolled. So the control one is the things that you want to see lah. Okay, and then uncontrolled you make it in the natural setting. Okay. Now we go to participant versus non-participant. Participant means that it can have either complete or moderate or active. To what extent should we choose, right? So complete maknanya, okay, I just say patutlah. Complete ni mana kita completely in that setting. Okay, in that setting. Alright, let's say you you want to do that thing apa something issue in organization, let's say club, let's say you have club patron perak, so you was in as a member, so you in that setting you, I mean, it can be, you can consider tiga aspek ni you comply, or maybe you just untuk do that research you set yourself as complete. You can choose. Okay, you can choose that you want to be in a complete participation or moderate participation or active participation. Alright. Jadi okay, I can see here. So to what extent should I participate? So let's say you are okay. Tadi dah ada share, ada teringat lupa pula. Dia ada banyak example here. So this challenge dia adalah biasness lah. Okay, so that's why you can decide lah. Okay, let's say you want to see let's say I nampak tak? Right. So dia ada, oh dia dekat dalam ni. That's the one that I can't see that. So actually complete ni mana dia betul-betul involve macam actual research lah, okay, complete. So dia memang betul mungkin the key taker dalam sesuatu isu tu, okay. So okay, I just say here, normally in observational studies, biasanya the researcher tu dia choose as moderate. Why? Because in the case of moderate ni, maknanya researcher tu dia akan duduk di tengah-tengah. Okay, either as a antara between the complete insider, okay, complete insider maknanya complete participant, and being a complete outsider. Okay, outsider ni maknanya outside, dia tak participate, dia duduk outside, right? So in a moderate, normally dia akan observe the scene under study, maintain a certain distance from or never intervene. Mungkin dia boleh macam flexible lah. Indeed, the role of the researcher also can often the role of passive witness. Okay, so another technique that is sometimes we use as shadowing. Okay, tadi ada satu example shadowing. Let's say shadow the researcher closely follows the subject. Nowadays in observation dalam virtually like you involve, you join page kan atau support group dalam Facebook or whatever lah, not limited to Facebook nowadays, in the TikTok or the Instagram, you follow somebody kan, you follow somebody, you stalk somebody. Kalau you active tu kalau you active tu you always give the command to that in the group, okay. Itu pun as a like an observation, you are active participation, alright. So and you contribute something in that setting. So that's benda ni is quite subjective, but if you slowly try to connect with what I've said just now, it's not only the setting. Oops. Why? Okay. Sekejap Alright. Okay. So with that, besides that's that one thing. You also have to consider this aspect. Permission. Sponsor maybe you have a research yang long term or quite has stakeholders to consider, and repo. Okay, the reputation, mana repo ni mana trust lah. Okay, the trust from, if you want to do the observation, you always ask permission. Let's say you are middle management, you have to top management that you are doing research and so on. So that's sometimes you must be careful. Okay, I'm talking when you are maybe you go to work or you move for intern, for example. All right. So maybe kita what's that? Apa lagi yang kita boleh apa yang kita boleh observe, madam? Okay, so this thing that you can observe. The space, the objects, the actors, feelings, events. Okay, so for example, the space like the factory layout, okay, maybe that one for simulation, for example. Object physical like office equipment, machines, power tools, okay. So maybe for intervention, for improvement, to this customer service, right? So you observe. So that's why normally the SQL student when they are go for intern, normally the lecturer will highlight, please observe in the first week, okay, what you can offer to your that company that you intern with. Actors means that the person that you maybe you want to help or apa, actors tu mana the staff at that setting lah, the staff ke ataupun the people that you want to look at. So normally actors ni, let's say in the social media you are looking for somebody lah kan, the social media influencer ke and so on. So you observe there's some actors ni in the certain period. Events, okay, events is the meeting, let's say you all follow juga, okay. So dalam social media you can boleh comply untuk feelings juga, okay, events, times and so on. So it's not only when you mesti dalam, you must be in that setting, in that apa space, okay. Media saya ni tak kerja lagi, tak biasa observation. Doesn't mean that you are actually, that's what I said in the beginning study. Observation are the part that we are doing without tanpa kita sedar by day, especially when now with the digital, we have social media, we have everything is just click on your phone, right? So you are observe people. Sometimes we are judging the people as well. Okay, observe, judging is different thing. Observe because sometimes you just looking and then just that's it. But judge, you sometimes you think deeply as well that the person that you see or you observe. Okay. Okay, so what you want to observe? Okay, beside that, okay, that's that one tadi. But apa yang kita boleh observe? Okay, so I hope that you can link up back with your research project soon. Okay, so you can see, tengok, okay, let's say lah, tengok dalam social media storyline atau activities. Okay, so you can see lah apa, so they have some stage here. Okay, so this one maybe you also have to jot down lah to the tulis lah kan, especially kalau you are in one setting yang you must tak nak you kena tulis lah apa-apa yang you required to that. Okay, so this one for example structured, you mesti tengok you dah ada predetermined, then you should know, and then you when you are predetermined you know what you want to record. Okay, and different, they have level by level structured. Okay, then you have putting out. Okay, so that's why you require the focus, the objective doing that observation, the ease of use, and then the mutually exclusive also ni macam kita record kan. So let's say lah, for example lah, benda simple, kita duduk tepi jalan, kita akan record kereta berapa banyak dalam masa setengah tu, kereta berapa, motor berapa, lori berapa. Okay, that's called coding jugalah. Okay, we can have simple checklist, we can sequence record, or we can sequence record on time scale. Okay, that's it. Alright, so as I mentioned just now, it's not doesn't mean that when I'm discuss on this, that's everything I cover it out. I just to pop out your minds, then you can go ahead that the books that the ebooks that I share with you, so you can explore more on from that book as well. Okay, so thank you.